Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, reporting to you live from Miracle Park. And typically on Mondays, I am at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center in Denver. But tonight is a particularly cold, snowy night. And so I'm here at Miracle Park doing Miracle Mondays from Miracle Park. So welcome to Miracle Mondays with Anna Kujawa. Hi, Carrie. And as we always do on Mondays, we do Miracle Roulette. Miracle Roulette is where we allow Spirit to decide what we hear from A Course in Miracles. We've learned that Spirit knows what we need to hear so much better than we do. We don't know our own best interest. We don't even know what the problem is. And so when we ask Spirit to decide for us what we need to hear, what we hear is always surprising and always precisely perfect, quite miraculous, and downright spooky, if you ask me. Right, Carrie and Trisha, you guys know. So, so that's what we're doing. We're gonna do Miracle Roulette, as we always do on Mondays. So I'm gonna do, of course, cue the phone, of course. It's like it knows exactly when 7 p.m. happens. So, all right. So I am going to do just a brief opening meditation prayer where we ask Spirit to answer our prayers, the prayers of our hearts. And then we're going to do the random number. So I'm going to have you close your eyes for a moment and just take a breath and breathe, and let's go ahead and connect, communicate, commune with the divine spark that is within us, that is available for us, that loves us, and whose whole sole purpose is is the correction of our errors. All right. Okay, everybody good? Okay, here we go. Hi, Laura, lovely to see you, my dear. And all right, everybody. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes. You're not operating heavy machinery. And take a breath, close your eyes, and just bring your awareness out of the past and out of the future. Bring your awareness into the right now. Remembering that everything that you want and need and desire is found and accessed and accepted right now, where you are right now, where God is right now, where all answers are right now. And so we bring our awareness back home to the present moment, right now. And we breathe it in. What does it feel like to really be present? Not lost in the past, not lost in the future, but just here right now. And let's go ahead and feel for that presence that lives in the present, and feel for it. Open your heart and your mind to this presence. It does dwell within you, whether you perceive it or not. Feel for it. Open your heart and mind to this presence that dwells in the present, that divine spark that voice for love and truth that was placed within you by your loving Creator. This is our chance to make contact with that which is within us, that which lives within us. Communication is creation. And just breathe in this presence. Say yes to it. Say yes to its love for you. Say yes to its desire to communicate with you. Say yes to the voice within you that's always wanting to guide you and communicate with you and guide you and love you and heal you. Say yes. I say yes. You want to communicate with me? I say yes. You want to remind me of the truth? Me? I say yes. You want to communicate with me? I say yes. And breathe and say yes. Voice of truth and love and healing within me. I trust your love for me. I trust that you're there for me. I trust that you were created to guide me and to heal me and to correct my perception. I trust that. And so I ask you to decide for me what I hear today, right now, from A Course in Miracles. I trust that you know my call for love. I trust that you know what I need. And I trust your love and your desire that I be healed. And so I ask you to decide for healing for me. I ask you to decide what we hear from A Course in Miracles in this holy instant. And I say yes. And I say thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for your just downright spooky, brilliant, genius, unconditionally loving answers to me right now from A Course in Miracles. Thank you. Awesome. Wonderful. All right, you did it. That's how you do it. So now we have asked, we have made contact. We have had true communion, which means true communication with the spirit that dwells within, which is honestly what we were created for. We were created to be in ecstatic communication with our source, which actually is creation. That is how you create. Your creator created you. And you just did it. So good job. Not bad. I love it. Hi, Trudy. Lovely to see you. Hi, Bree. Trisha. Lovely to see you. Hi, Love. I was just talking about you today, Bree. Beautiful. So right on, we have said our Miracle Roulette prayer, and now we're going to choose which chapter from the text that we're going to read. Are you ready? Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Chapter 22. All right, chapter 22 it is. 2-2. Now we're gonna go to. And we are in the blue covered edition. So on Wednesdays I do the annotated edition. On Mondays I do the blue covered edition. And And so chapter 22 has how many sections? So it's interesting. We've been in chapter 2 and chapter 1 in all my classes recently. So interesting that now we're in chapter 22. You got the 2s and the 1s and the 1s and the 2s going on here. So chapter 22 has 6 sections. So now I'm going to put in 6 sections, 6, and we're going to see which section it is. You ready? Here we go. This is so that you see that there's no tricks here. No tricks and games. All right. Section 1. So it's 22, section 1. All right. Salvation and the holy relationship. Oh, we're going to be talking about relationships. Well, if you need to, you can like sign off now. Yeah. Greg says, yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh no, we're going to be talking about relationships. Oh my God. You may notice that the emphasis on relationships begins halfway through the text. I'm sure there's a very good reason for that. The Course in Miracles wants to make sure that you have had a very good foundation. The foundation is set up for you before it ever starts talking about relationships. So, and A Course in Miracles truly is a curriculum about relationships. It's all about relating. Now, why would you guess that is? Why would you guess A Course in Miracles is all about relating and connection and relationships? Well, my guess on that one is that the one problem the Course in Miracles says we have is the belief that we're separate, the belief that we're disconnected, the feeling of disconnection, the feeling of being alone, the belief of being alone, the feeling and belief of being disconnected. When you look at all of the psychological sicknesses that humans suffer from, which is something that I have studied a lot of as a psychologist myself, is when you get to the core of the psychic or psychological and emotional illnesses that we all suffer from, it always comes down to a feeling of being disconnected, separated, being alone, feeling separate, feeling on our own. So the one problem that the Course in Miracles says we suffer from is the belief in separation, that we're separate and disconnected. Well, then that just makes sense that all things that point to connection and joining and belonging, all those things, including union, would be part of the one answer. The one problem humanity suffers from, according to the Course, is separation. And the one answer to everything that humans suffer from, according to the Course, is union, joining, connection, belonging, communication. These are all synonyms. And so relationships are so important in the awakening, healing process, according to Course in Miracles, for all humans. If the one problem is separation, then the one answer is that we're connected. Okay, where is it that we're best going to learn that we truly are connected for real, except in our relationships? Now, where is it that you are in relationship in the world? Everywhere where you got a situation going on. The Course in Miracles says situations and relationships are the same. Basically, everything that you're doing has some kind of relating, whether it's with your family, your partner, your business partners, the people you meet on the street, the people you do business with. It's all about relationships. According to the quality of your relating with others, according to how you relate to others. That is how your life goes, truly. If the quality of your relating and your relationships with others is loving and connected, then you experience peace and joy and aliveness and health and wealth and well-being. If your connections with others are fearful, guilty, painful, where you don't feel connected to others, where you feel alone and you feel separate and on your own, and you feel different and you don't feel connected to others, and your relationships express that, then you will have psychic and emotional illness and pain in your life. So that's kind of what it comes down to in A Course in Miracles, in my perception as a student of A Course in Miracles. So that's why once you get to about chapter 15 in A Course in Miracles, it's heavy duty on relationships. All right? And I am guessing that if it's stuff at the beginning, most people would not continue on with A Course in Miracles past the first chapter. Okay, that's why it's got to wait till you're in, and wait till some kind of foundation has been established before it even begins to talk to you about relationships. All right. Okay, so on that, I'm gonna have to take some water. Even my ego's like, oh no, oh God, why do we have to do that? All right, so here we go. Let me get this, put that pen right there. All right. Hi, Bridget, lovely to see you. Hi, Tim, and hi, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Bridget says, hello, Anna and MCs. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. All right. We are giving a new interpretation to Mondays. Yes, we are. All right, this is the reason I decided to teach on Mondays, was because I knew that I needed correct perception on Mondays. And so that is why so many years ago I decided to do a Monday class, right? Okay, so I needed a new perception of Mondays. That's why I was like, I'm going to do a Miracle Mondays class. All right, we are chapter 22. We're in the blue covered edition. Chapter 22, section 1, and the name of this chapter is Salvation and the Holy Relationship, which means happiness, healing, and the healed relationship. Okay, happiness and healing is what is connected to healed relationships. The holy relationship is the healed relationship. Holy in A Course in Miracles doesn't mean, oh, I am so holy, I never have an impure thought, holy, holy, I don't, no. Holy means happy. Holy in A Course in Miracles means whole, okay? And so this is going to talk about relationships that are whole, where one whole person is in a relationship with another whole and complete person. That makes for a holy relationship. Okay? That's what a holy relationship really is. One whole and complete person comes together with another whole and complete person, and they experience salvation, which means being saved from your own madness, your own insanity. All right. All right, everybody there. Oh, Trisha, Trisha, lovely. Lovely to see you, my dear. Andrew says, can't wait to just spin that random number generator thing again. All right. Hi, Erica Green. Lovely to see you. Here we go. We are chapter 22, section 1. Here starts off with an instruction, okay? Always pay attention to the instructions of A Course in Miracles. This is a manual. It has instructions. If you follow the instructions and do what it says, you will get the results that will blow your freaking mind. Okay, lovely. Now, here's the first instruction. Take pity on yourself. Take pity on yourself, you who have been so long enslaved. Wow. Did it just say that I have been so long enslaved and I should take pity on myself? Me who have been so long enslaved. Yes, it did, and that's an instruction. Have pity on yourself. Be compassionate on yourself. You have been so long enslaved by fear, guilt, which means incorrect perception. You've been so long enslaved by your misperceptions and your fear and your guilt. Have pity on yourself. Have mercy on yourself. You deserve it. You've been so long enslaved by guilt and fear. Take not only here. Now here's the second instruction. Did you get the first instruction? Have mercy on yourself. Take pity on yourself. You've been so long enslaved by fear and guilt. You deserve a break. Second instruction. Rejoice. Celebrate that whom God has joined have come together. And that's us. So the first part was be merciful on yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Take pity on yourself. So long enslaved by fear and guilt. And the second thing to do is that whom God has joined, that's us. We've come together. And since we've all come together, here we are together, we need no longer look on guilt apart. Celebrate that that whom God has brought together, us. We no longer need to look on our egos by ourselves. We no longer need to look on our own fear and our own guilt and our own shame by ourselves. Thank you, God. And God is even saying you need to celebrate. Celebrate that God has brought us together so that we don't have to look on our own fear and shame and guilt by ourselves anymore. Hallelujah. Because remember what it was like looking on your ego and your fear and your shame and your guilt by yourself? Remember what it's like to look on your problems and your conflicts by yourself? It's downright terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And when you look at your ego and your fear and your guilt and your mistakes by yourself, then you cannot believe that there is a way, that there is a healing, that there is an answer. You cannot believe that you are still, as God created you, perfect, pure, beautiful, magnificent. It's only when you come together with those whom love has brought you together. It's only when you look at your ego with others whom God has sent you that you can go, oh my God, the ego's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. What a joke. Oh my God. When you look upon your ego with others that love has sent you, then your ego is just merely ridiculous. It merely needs to be laughed away. That's what happens when we, who God has brought together, look upon our egos together. And that's one of the great values in my perception of studying A Course in Miracles, whether it's what we're doing here or when we gather together in person to read A Course in Miracles. Finally, our ego crap is hilarious, not so serious. It doesn't terrify us. Now we laugh. And the Course in Miracles does tell us that the world ends, the ego ends in laughter. But when you're looking on your ego by yourself, it's not very funny. But when you're looking on your ego together, wow, with others, do you see that energy charge? Wow. Okay, that is weird. Is that just me, or do you see the lighting thing going on? Very interesting. All right. Okay. So, do you see it, or is it?
Yeah. Hopefully the light.
And it's. I know, and it's in the thing here too. These weird light surges. Very interesting. All right. Let's see here something. I just want to tap on that. All right. Trisha says she saw it. Very interesting. Oh, I wonder what it could be. Oh, I know what it was. This happened. There we go. All right, that's one thing that happened. All right, there we go. Okay, we just had a major electrical surge go through this house and through the camera. So I'm sure it's just a total coincidence that we're talking about joining and then we had an electrical surge. I'm sure it's a total coincidence. All right. So we got 2 instructions. Take pity on yourself so long enslaved by guilt and fear. And also you should also be celebrating that we whom God have brought together no longer need to look on our egos and our problems and our fear and our shame and guilt by ourselves. Beautiful. And the reason why we've been brought together to look on our egos together is because no 2 people can look on the ego, sin or guilt together. They can't look on it together because 2 people whom God brought together, they could never see the guilt and the sin in the same place and time. What does that mean? That means that sin and guilt is a strictly private, individual perception seen in the other person, believed by each to be within themselves. Wow, very interesting. So, in other words, no 2 people can look on sin, shame, and guilt and see it the same, in the same way, in the same place. Why? Why is that? Because the perception of sin and guilt and shame is a strictly individual perception. What does that mean? That means that we'll never agree on what the sin and the shame and the guilt is, okay? When we come together and we're going to look on it, let's say it's me, my perception of guilt is something that I will see in the other, but it's something that I believe is within me. So in other words, it's the perception of my guilt and my shame and my sin is never something that's totally shared. It's something I see in them, but I really believe that it's in me and I'm just projecting on them. The experience of shame is something that is projected onto someone else when you feel it within yourself. It's never, the 2 people never see. And when 2 people come together to look on what their own shame and sin is, they never see it the same. So when I share with you what my sin and shame and guilt is, you're like, what if, no, it's not. But you're ridiculous. And then when they share with me their perception of their shame and sin and guilt, no, you're not guilty about that. We all do that. Sin and shame and guilt is a strictly individual perception. And that's why Spirit brings us together so that we can look on it together, so that we can realize together that it's an illusion. It's an illusion. It's not real. It's like you're seeing it here and I'm seeing it there, and when I see it, it must not be real. And that's why we need each other. And that's why the plan for our healing and our awakening entails relationships, relating in a new way. This is a path of joining. Course in Miracles says that awakening, salvation, healing is a joining experience. You don't come to awakening or healing by yourself on your own alone. That healing and happiness comes from joining. Now, when we are brought together by love and truth, we're brought together to look on our individual egos together, not by ourselves alone in secret, but together, so that we can see the truth of the ego. You can only see the truth of the ego when you look on it with others. But when you're looking on your ego by yourself, it seems real, and you will feel doomed.
Like when you and I get in the car or something and say, let's talk about our ego.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Greg was saying, like, when Greg and I get in the car and we're like, let's talk about our ego. Let's talk about what the ego is saying right now. What's your ego saying right now? Oh my ego is saying this. Oh my goodness, isn't that interesting that our egos are saying the same thing? Isn't that interesting? Oh, and isn't it interesting that the ego is saying that, like right after that really beautiful, loving joining on truth? Isn't that interesting? I wonder if that's a coincidence. I wonder why the ego is both telling us the same thing at the same time and really telling us it in a very convincing way. I wonder. All right. So, how are we doing out there? Hi, Alexander Xavier Feliz. What a beautiful name. Hi, Cassidy Chance. Hi, Rip Pitts. Lovely to see you all. I appreciate your presence in this healing circle that we co-create. I appreciate you using your precious time to increase the energy of this healing circle that we co-create when we come together to listen to these ideas. All right. Now, it says then, and each person seems to have a different error, and an error that the other person cannot understand. All right. So when we come together, and here it is that when we're upset with each other, when we're misperceiving, it seems like each person in the relationship is making a different error. Like, you are making a different, I'm not making that error. And each person seems to be making a different error, and an error that the other person cannot understand. So that is a perfect description of us in conflict with each other. The conflict is like this. I'm not making the error you're making. I cannot believe that you are making that error. And that's not the error that I'm making. Our errors are different. I can't understand how and why you would be making that error. I wouldn't make that error. That's not the error that I'm making. That is a state of conflict. That is a state of misperception. And then our teacher says, brothers and sisters, hear me now. The errors that you both are making are the same error. And both of your errors are forgiven for its maker in the same way. So that's what's really going on in the situation with you and others, where it seems like they're making a different error, an error that you can't understand. The truth is that you're both making the same error. And also, the same error that you're both making, it is forgiven by both of you in the same way. Okay? That's how the healing of conflict between two people is accomplished. Okay? We're brought together by love so that we can both look upon the ego together to see the truth about the ego, and the errors that what we're being brought together to see is that the errors that we're making is the same. So The conflict will continue as long as you are perceiving that I'm not making that error, and my error is different than that, and I can't understand why they make that error. I don't make that error. And when we realize, wow, actually the error we're making is the same, is forgiven in the same way by the both of us. That is how healing begins in our relationships with everybody. All right? So sin and guilt says we're making different errors and I don't understand their errors. And then forgiveness and healing says you're making the same error. You're both wrong. And both of your errors are forgiven in the same way. All right. Now, then it says this. It says the innocence, the guiltlessness, the happiness of your relationship forgives you and your brothers and sisters. And it undoes the effects of what you both believed and saw. And with the going of your errors is the need for sin and guilt gone with those errors. Okay, so this is saying something very interesting. It's saying that the innocence, the guiltlessness of your relationship is what forgives you both. What does that mean? It forgives you both. What do you mean the innocence and guiltlessness of our relationship is going to forgive us both? In other words, it's not going to be me forgiving them or them forgiving me. It's going to be the truth that we accepted into our relationship, the spirit that we accepted invited into our relationship that's going to forgive us both, which means it's the truth that we accepted in that's going to undo the effects of what we both believed and saw. Wow, that's pretty amazing that there's something that we've invited into our relationship. And that's what it talks about in the chapters, starting chapter 15 all the way up to 22. It's all about how the special relationship, the relationship based on separation and guilt and shame and the past and the body and fear, where that relationship is transformed into a holy relationship. And what it says is that the way that ego-based relationship is transformed to a spirit, happiness-based relationship is where the two people invite into the relationship a higher truth, a higher purpose, a holy purpose that transcends each their own separate purpose. So that's what it is. So in chapter 22, it has already taken you and others through the process of inviting in that higher mystical third into the relationship to replace your old goals for being in relationship. So the old goals for being in relationship, remember those? Remember the old goals for relationship? Getting love, getting happiness. If somebody would change, you'd be happy. You having perception that you're missing something and you form a relationship to get that missing piece, and that's what the relationship is based on. Remember those old goals? So the Course in Miracles from chapter 15 to chapter 22 is teaching these two people, whether it doesn't matter what form the relationship is, how to allow their old goals for being together to be replaced by a higher goal. It's where the old relationship invites in the mystical third. Okay, so it makes like a triangle. It's like this person, that person, and they invite in the higher mystical third, and they invite in a holier, higher purpose for being together. So now two people have have gone from, okay, we got together because I didn't feel like I had the right stuff and enough love. I felt incomplete, and so I'm finding somebody who's got my missing parts, and they're doing the same, and that's why we've come together. Seems like a match made in heaven, but it really turned out to be something else. And then we realized that that was not making us happy. It's making us feel more separate. We invite in the mystical third. We invite in the mystical third to put purpose for our relationship in place, exchange, in place of ours. And it says, and it's that mystical third, that higher purpose for a relationship that does what? That forgives both of our mistakes, both of our errors, and undoes the effects of what we both believed and saw. Wow, that's so cool. That's the benefit of inviting in that higher purpose, that mystical third, into your relationship, asking its purpose for being together to replace your old reasons for being together, because it will purify and correct and undo all those errors that you both saw and believed. So, wow. So that is one of the miracle blessings of inviting in a higher love, a higher truth, a higher purpose into your relationships, that your old purposes may be replaced with a new and holy purpose. All right. Now, what was it that we both wanted and believed and saw? Well, we really wanted to be right, to win, to get, to compete. That was our old goals. And when all those old goals or our own errors have left, then so does guilt go with those old goals. All right. Beautiful. How does that sound? Isn't that interesting about Course in Miracles being a curriculum for allowing your relationships to be 100% transformed for you, not by you, but for you. Isn't that beautiful? So here, you don't have to figure out how to have a healed and happy relationship. You don't have to figure that out. All you have to do is invite in together a higher purpose for being together, a spirit that you share, and that it does it for you, even despite y'all, even despite the two of you, or the four of you, or the five of you, whatever. So this is how we allow our relationships to be transformed for us. That our relationships be not our doom anymore, but not only our healing and our salvation, but also for the world. Okay? And that this is what A Course in Miracles and the teacher and healer of A Course in Miracles is offering to all of us. Okay? So our relationships, the Course in Miracles says, are the temples that Spirit dwells in while Spirit works to transform the world from hell into heaven. So in other words, our relationships are temples that Spirit hangs out in on earth while Spirit's doing what Spirit does on earth. Okay, so our relationships are like the Airbnbs of Spirit, while Spirit comes to earth to transform earth from hell to heaven. Isn't that interesting? And that's a big switch. when our relationships are being used by our egos, then our relationships truly feel like our doom. Right. They, of all the things that we tend to feel devastated by in life, what is it? It's a painful relationship, an ego relationship. Talk about that's how actually the ego wants to destroy us. Okay, the Course in Miracles says that relationships are special relationships are the ego's chief weapon for keeping us in hell. Not just a little bit of purgatory, but hell. Okay, when your ego wants to hell, when ego wants to mess you up, not just in jail, not just in purgatory, but hell, the ego is going to use a ego-based, ego-purpose relationship to do it. Do you know what I'm talking about? I know you know what I'm talking about. And it says that the ego wants to use relationships to make earth and your life hell. And the Holy Spirit, your loving right mind, wants to use your relationships to turn hell into heaven. Okay? Same device, your relationships. Your relationships. Okay? That's where either the ego is going to turn your life into hell in the world with you, or that's the means that the Holy Spirit is going to use to turn your life into heaven and the world into a garden. Wow. So relationships, according to A Course in Miracles, are crucial, primary, fundamental. And that's why A Course in Miracles focuses so much on your relationships and how to give them over to Spirit, how to invite Spirit in, that Spirit might transform them from your doom, your devastation, into your salvation, and also for the salvation of the planet. Woo-wee! I need a fan. Okay, so how we doing? All this talk about relationships. Hi, Pam. Lovely to see you. Hi, Daniel. All right, let's all take a breath. Okay. Yes, that's how I got into A Course in Miracles. My ego had used a relationship that I was in to make me want to kill myself. And instead of killing myself, I took all of that pain and sorrow and devastation to Spirit and to A Course in Miracles. And I said, here's this relationship. Take it from me. Do with it what you will. And not only did I emerge from the devastating pain, psychic pain, emotional pain that I was in, so much that I wanted to kill myself, not only did I emerge from that pain, but I literally awoke like the phoenix rising from the ashes, who I was and what I'm about and what I'm here for. And I saw what A Course in Miracles could do, and what how the Spirit could take this relationship that was devastating, and it turned it from my doom into my salvation, and then was able to help many others through me and through that relationship. And I was it was such a revelation what A Course in Miracles could do, that I said, I am going to devote my life to teaching this curriculum. if A Course in Miracles and what it's taught could do that, if it could take me from that level of doom in a relationship to this level of awakening and transformation in salvation for me and the world, sign me up. And that in that time, that was the time when I decided to pursue teaching A Course in Miracles for the rest of my life. And that when I was 19. And I have been teaching ever since because of that demonstration. So, wonderful. Hi, Terry. Lovely to see you, dear. All right. So now we're paragraph 2. My goodness. That was really only one paragraph. Amazing. Okay. So, Bridget says, I can relate. Wonderful. Beautiful. Yeah, everybody, I mean, you there's nobody you could talk to if they're at least a certain age that hasn't experienced what the ego wants to do to all of us through our relationships, okay? And so truly, remember, the ego's chief weapon for keeping you in hell is a special relationship, which means a relationship that is based on not Holy Spirit's purpose, not the mystical third, but each of our own separate purposes for what we can get and take from the other that we don't believe that we have within ourselves. All right. Paragraph 2. Who is it that has need for guilt? Who is that? Who is it who's so addicted and has a need for guilt? Only the lonely and the alone. Who is the lonely and alone? It's those who see others as different from themselves. That's the only people who have need for guilt and anger and attack. Guilt and anger and attack. It's only those who feel lonely, those who feel alone, those who see others as different from themselves, whether they're seeing others as better than themselves or worse themselves, elevated above themselves or below themselves. Those are the people who feel lonely and alone. Hear that. Those who feel lonely and alone are those who see others as different from themselves, not equal, not the same. And when you don't see yourself as equal and the same as others, of course you're going to feel lonely and alone, and then you will need sin and guilt. You will need it. You'll feel like you need it to protect yourself. That's who has need of guilt. Now, it is this difference seen between us, but not real. It's these differences that we see in others, that we see but they aren't real, that makes the need for guilt, not real, but seen, seem justified. It's the same as saying that it's these differences that we see between ourselves and others that makes us feel alone and lonely, that makes us feel like we need to attack and that we need to project guilt. That's what makes the need for guilt and attack seem real, even though it's imagined. Because in your relationships, the closer they are, doesn't it really, really, really seem like your attack is justified? Doesn't it? Yes, it does. And it seems like the closer you are, it seems like the deeper and the more real is the justification for the attack. Whew. So, that's the perfect definition of a special relationship. Okay. Of Course in Miracles talks about the special relationship and the holy relationship. And it talks about these two relationships all through the curriculum, okay? Because it's important, okay? It's the special relationships that's making the need for attack and sin and guilt seem real and justified. That is turning our lives into hell and our world along with it. And it's the holy relationship where we finally see no differences. Our errors are the same. We see our equality, where the need for sin and guilt and attack is gone, where we experience our happiness, and then that gets extended to the world. So how you experience your world comes from what kind of relationships you're having, whether it's special relationships or holy relationships. How your world is experienced by you is determined by your relationships, and your relationships are determined by the purpose for your relationships. Are your relationships something that are used for you by your ego, that you're using for your advantage? Or are your relationships something that you are giving to Spirit to use for healing for everyone? That question determines your whole world, your whole life, and also the state of your body, and also the state of your world. So it's pretty darn important, okay? As your relationships go, so do you experience your life, so does your world go. Wow. Okay, nothing like a little light and superficial Course in Miracles, huh? On a Monday. This is why I do random number generator Miracle Roulette, because the relationship sections are so triggering for so many, including myself, that if it wasn't for random number generator, if it was to come up on a Monday, I'd be like, no, it's Monday, I don't feel like it. I want people to come back to my class, and I just wouldn't do it. Because the relationship sections are so challenging, because relationships are so challenging for all of us, for real. Can I get an amen on that? Okay, I got one amen over there. All right, that's all I need. And I think Nikita just gave me an amen. I think I saw her paw move and her ear twitch and a little howl. All right, beautiful. Okay, so, okay, great. Now it says the special relationship, which means the painful relationship. The special relationship where you seem to go through all kinds of guilt and pain and fear and attack and separation and drama and trauma, broken into by periods which it seems to be gone, called the weekend or vacation. The special relationship is based on differences. What does that mean? That means the special relationship is a relationship where each person thinks that the other person has what they do not. Where I think that the other people have what I don't, okay? I don't have enough confidence. I don't have enough security. I don't have enough specialness. I don't have enough intelligence. I don't have enough fame, power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, all things the ego is addicted to. But they do. And they also feel, they look at me and go, she has what I don't have. Oh my God, it's a match made in heaven. It was really a match made in hell. But the ego's not going to tell you that. It says the special relationship is a relationship based on differences. It's a relationship where each person thinks that the other person has what they don't have. And then these two people come together, each to complete themselves and to rob the other. Oh, isn't that romantic? And then these two people stay with each other until they think that there's nothing left to steal. from the other, and then they move on. They call it irreconcilable difference. We got divorced, we broke up. Okay, that is a special relationship. And then after they have come together for what they could take from the other that each of them didn't have for themselves, and come together with somebody who has it, and they take it from the other, and then when there's nothing else to take from the other, nothing else to steal from them, then they move along. And then what? And then they just wander through a world of strangers who are also unlike them, who are different from them, living with their bodies, perhaps under a common roof that shelters neither in the same room and yet a world apart. Okie dokie. This is where most people leave A Course in Miracles. So if you have the urge to turn this off and never read A Course in Miracles ever again, that makes sense. This is where people do it. Now, what it's saying here is that, so it just showed you the whole progression of the special relationship, which means the ego-dominated relationship. The relationships that your ego wants to make. The relationships your ego, the type of relationship your ego wants to make of your relationship. So it goes like this. Each person has looked within and seen a lack. Then they look without and they see, oh, that person has what I don't have. And then they get with that person to take from that person what they didn't have. So they stay with the people. There's nothing left to take from the other. And then they leave the relationship. And then they go to other relationships where other people seem different, seem to have what they don't have. And they live together, perhaps under a common roof that shelters neither one of them. In other words, they then wander into another relationship where they live together in the same room or the same house, but they are worlds apart. Okay. Has anybody listening ever had these special relations? Thank you. All right. Everybody, okay, hands up. All right. That's a special relationship where we just wander from relationship to relationship to relationship of people who seem different from us, which means we thought they had something we didn't. We stay with them for a while till we got all that we could get from them that we didn't have, realizing, oh, I'm still not happy. I got from them what I thought I lacked, and I'm still not happy, and neither are they. Let's break up. Okay, here's another person who has what I don't have. Let's move in together. Let's live under a common roof. Let's live under a common roof that even though we're under a common roof, we're literally worlds apart. Wow. Why? Because we didn't come together to join. We came together to get. We didn't come together out of a sense of completion and completeness that we both had, that we received from our Creator. We came together out of a sense of incompletion and lack. And so what do you think is now the content of that relationship? It's just more incompletion and more lack. And so now we're in a relationship, we still don't feel satisfied. And what do? We're like, then we project it. We say to the person we're in a relationship with, if you were different, I'd be happy. If you would change, I would be happy. That's what we begin. That becomes the mantra. And that's why and then that's what we take into therapy. And that's what we take into our fights. If you were different, I'd be happy. If you would change, I'd be happy. That becomes the mantra that we have in these relationships. Okay, and then what do we try to do with each other? We try to change. Okay, well, I'll change. Okay, but if I'm going to change, you better change. All right, okay, here's our agreement. I'll change like this, and you change like that, and then we'll be happy, right? Okay, and then we both try to do the change and the compromise and the bargaining. I change like this, you change like that. I give up this, you give up that. And then, okay, we're gonna be happy, right? And now we're less happy than okay. And then we realize, wow, I've gotten all I could get from this person. I'm still not happy. They've gotten all they could get from me. They're still not happy. I've tried to change for them. They're not happy. They've tried to change for me. I'm not happy. I think we should move along. And then we move along. And instead of looking within to see where it was that we believed there was some kind of lack within us and heal that, allow that perception to be corrected by spirit, we don't do that. We go right back in to looking for somebody who is different from us, meaning who has what we don't have. Wow. And then the Course in Miracles says that this chain of special relationships, calls it a chain. All of a sudden it's like, here's this relationship, this special relationship, this special relationship, this special relationship. Oh, I've got so many, like I can make a chain. And he says it's this chain of special relationships that is around our neck that keeps us from really being free and happy. All righty. Now, has everybody left the room? Oh my God, the numbers just went from 100 down to 5. But truly, who could say that they don't recognize that pattern? Say that that's not how it goes. Or who could say they haven't experienced something like that? As long as we are people who don't feel complete from within, then the special relationship, that's all you can have, okay? It's not going to happen that you feel complete from within and then you have, and then you're looking for what you can get and steal from others, okay? So if you don't feel complete from within, for real, if you feel like there's something missing, and if you feel like other people are different and that they have something that you don't have, then that's the only kind of relationship you can have. So, wonderful. Okay, so that's just a few. Okay, great. How many is a few, Trisha? Okay, let's compare. Okay, let's don't. Actually,
farm numbers?
Yeah, is that what you say? Farm?
Is that in farm numbers?
Yeah, Trisha, Greg wants to know if a few is in farm numbers. Okay, yeah, who knows what a few means in farm numbers, you know? A few cucumbers, who knows? And Bridget says, true. And Trisha says, amen. All right, okay. Great, and this is we're not just talking romantic relationships here. We're talking all relationships, honestly. You know, I could say my relationship with my daughter was like, oh, I'm missing something. If only I had a child, I'd be happy. Bloop, you know, here's my baby. So this is not just romantic relationships. This is all relationships. All right. So, and Lord knows if you are feeling incomplete from within a child, boy, are you going to be disappointed. At least until they're, you know, in their 20s or something and leave home. Okay. Hi, Rhonda. Lovely to see you. And Jerry says in farm a few head. All right. Thank you, Jerry. I knew Jerry would know. Okay. Now it's going to talk about a holy relationship. Anybody would like to hear about that? Okay. Okay. Even if you won't be able to relate to it. Okay. You still want to hear it? All right. Okay. Trisha says, LOL, a gaggle. So it says a holy relationship, which means a happy relationship, a healed relationship, a relationship that gets more joyous and more fun and abundant as you go instead of less. A holy relationship, thank you, Irene, at work too. A relationship that's not based on differences, it's not based on guilt, it's not based on getting it all. A holy, happy relationship starts from a different premise. All right. A happy, healed, healthy, abundant, joyous relationship that only gets more joyous and beyond it starts from a different premise. What kind of different premise? A holy relationship is where each person has looked within and seen no lack, seen no differences. Okay, I don't see that they have more than me. Blah blah blah. They have more talent. They have more specialness. I also don't look within and go, they got less than me. Okay, equality. Each person has looked within and seen no lack. I have what God has given to everybody, equally alike. Whatever God has given to me. Whatever God has given to me, God has given to them. Okay, that is a premise. That's where a holy relationship begins, where where both people have looked within and seen no lack, meaning no differences, and then they, accepting their own completion, they would extend their completion by joining with another who is as whole and complete as themselves. That's the different premise from which a holy relationship starts. That's where it begins. Okay, each person look within. I am whole and complete within. Whatever God has given to all of God's creations, God has given to me. And then I join with somebody else who's done the same thing. We come together to celebrate that we both have it all equally. And we extend that awareness of our completion, and we celebrate that. That's all we're extending to each other, is that feeling of wholeness and completion. Instead of extending to each other, if you were different, I'd be happy. In other words, I have, and you better feel it if you say you love me. Okay. So you see the difference, it says the different premise that a holy relationship begins from. Whew, baby, take a breath on that. And it says these two people, they've both looked within, seen themselves as complete, seeing themselves as having no lack, and then they join another who is complete as themselves. They don't see any differences between themselves because they realize that differences between them are only of the body. And that's what they've seen. Any differences between us, totally, completely. You're male, I'm female, I'm male, you're female, you're old, I'm young, I'm an adult, you're a child. You're the boss, I'm the employee, you're the boss. All differences of the body, okay? We know that. The people who have joined in a holy relationship, they know that any differences between them are only of the body, because everything else is the same. Because why? Because it came from the same source. We both came from the same source. That means we are the same thing. We have the same thing, and the only differences between us are completely of the body, just the form. That's the premise from which a happy, healed, joyous, fun, abundant relationship begins. Wow. In other words, in this kind of relationship, the holy relationship says both people look on nothing they would take. Neither of them are like, you need to give me some of that. You need to give me that. There's nothing that either one of them are seeing that they would take from the other. Both people are not denying their own reality, their own completion, their own wholeness, because both people recognize that their own wholeness and completion is the truth. That's what both people see. Neither one of them are denying their own completion and wholeness, because they know that's the truth about them, and they both know that. And so they're not looking for anything to take from the other, like specialness. Just under heaven do these two people stand now, but close enough not to return to earth. Wow. So when there's two people have a holy relationship like that, These two people, they are standing where? Where? Just beneath heaven, just underneath heaven. In other words, they're right there. They're right there, right underneath heaven. That's where they stand. But close enough not to return to earth. Wow. Dang. So when you have a relationship like this, this is how you move toward heaven, the real world. That's how you do it. Okay, so you're doing the holy relationship and you are right about to go through the door into the real world, heaven. And you're close enough to heaven not to return to earth. To earth. Notice it said earth, okay? It didn't say hell, it said earth. Wow, how beautiful is that? So that's why A Course in Miracles says that the ark of heaven is entered 2 by 2. That's what that means. That you don't get to the real world, right? Heaven by yourself. You get to the real world through the portal that is created by a holy relationship. So, very interesting concept that a holy relationship is like the portal, or the holy relationship is what enables you to move through the portal into the real world. The ark of heaven is entered 2 by 2, or the ark of peace is entered 2 by 2, meaning 2 equals, 2 people who see themselves as equal. They both see themselves as complete and whole within, and they've joined in that understanding to extend that awareness. That's how you enter the ark of the real world. 2 by 2. And notice how A Course in Miracles calls heaven, or the real world, an ark. And if ever there was a time when we needed an ark, I think it might be now. What do you think? Okay, hold that thought. All right. Speaking of ark, I had to let the dog out. So, yeah, our ark is getting bigger. So the holy relationship, in a way, is an ark. It's an ark. And what do we think of when we hear the term ark? We think of this like this ship of safety in troubled times. And it seems to me that we are embarking on troubled times. So in order to enter the ark, we want to be creating these holy relationships that we might enter the ark of peace upon and through. Wow, very interesting. How are we doing on time? Okay. Well, it is 8:20 Mountain Time, so I think I'm going to stop here. We will pick back up here next week because that's what we do on. Oh, this is Monday, right? Well, maybe next week I'll start back up on paragraph 4 if, instead of just doing random number generator. I don't know. What do you think? So we're gonna stop here. I totally support you in continuing to read on and finish this section. As you can see, it's quite important for everything, for entering the real world that we all want. And also it is crucial for experiencing an ark of safety in these troubled times, right? Just like we said earlier at the beginning of class. As our relationships go here on earth, so we experience life, so we experience the world. The way to experience the world as heavenly and safe, as an ark of safety, an ark of peace, is through the quality of our relationships. Whether our relationship is a holy relationship, which means a whole relationship based on wholeness, or a special relationship where we're just trying to take and steal the specialness we don't feel like we have within our own selves. So 100% crucial, important section in A Course in Miracles. And Irene, we're in chapter 22, section 1 in the blue covered edition, which is the edited edition of A Course in Miracles. Okay, thank you, Chiz. So chapter 22, section 1, in the blue covered edition, which is the edited edition.
It's the same in the annotated.
Oh, and Greg says it's the same in the annotated. All right, beautiful. Okay, well, wow, you guys, I'm ecstatic that we had this opportunity to go this deep in this very deep topic that can be so challenging in our lives. So I appreciate that you took a chance, you took a risk to listen together, to listen to this tonight, so that you could take your part in creating the real world and entering the real world. I so appreciate that you used your precious, precious time to join this healing circle that we have co-created as we listen to these ideas together. I personally cannot believe that it's been almost an hour and a half. It literally feels like it's been 5 minutes.
Exactly.
For wild, really wild, especially talking about special relationships. Usually that's like me, goes like, pulling teeth. So total miracle. So I'm just going to do a couple of announcements really quickly, and then we're going to do the integration meditation that I end all my sessions with, where we take the ideas and we just breathe, and we use meditation and creative visualization to actually use the ideas in whatever area of our life we really need a miracle. So announcements are this. I do 2 live streams a week. Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah, for saying repost. Yeah, if you would like to support this ministry or just extend this message to more of the world, then post it on your newsfeed. That's a way for this message to extend out into the world. And also a way for you to support my Miracles ministry. So I do 2 live streams a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. On Mondays, typically I had been at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center for the last few months. I don't know if I'm going to continue to do that because of the increased lockdowns, and now it's winter, but every Monday and Wednesday on Facebook, for the time being, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We're here in Evergreen, Colorado, so Mountain Time. On Mondays, I do Miracle Roulette, and on Wednesdays, I do the complete and annotated edition of Course in Miracles, which is the least edited version of A Course in Miracles. So it's very exciting to teach that edition of A Course in Miracles. Greg does a beautiful Course in Miracles Bible synthesis class every Tuesday here on Facebook, live stream here from Miracle Park, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time as well. Beautiful, godly, powerful channeling, and I totally encourage you to check that out. And I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a psychotherapeutic niche called Miracle Psychotherapeutics, for psychotherapy for people who would like some support going through some kind of challenge, but they want it from A Course in Miracles perspective. And so I'm available for one-on-one sessions that I call Miracle Psychotherapeutic sessions. And I'm available by phone, in person if you're in the area, or Skype. So many ways to do that. And in that way you get support through how to use whatever you're going through, how to give whatever you're going through to Spirit, that Spirit might use it for miraculous healing for you and everyone involved. So that's what my one-on-one Miracle Psychotherapeutic sessions are for. So it's not about me giving you advice from me or from, my psychology training. It's me sharing with you what A Course in Miracles says to do and attitudes to take when you are going through something that we all go through. We are all here in Earth School learning, and usually learning the hard way. Don't have to be that way, but we typically as humans tend to learn the hard way. And what A Course in Miracles is telling us is you do not have to do it alone. You are not alone. You do not have to do it alone. You have mighty, mighty, mighty support, mighty companions and mighty support that you just don't see right now. But A Course in Miracles is something that helps to open your eyes and your heart to that support that you literally are surrounded by. And so that is what I offer. And the best way to contact me to schedule a one-on-one session is either to private message me on Messenger or to go to my website, annakujawa.com, find my phone number and text my phone number. Best way to reach me is to text me, and my phone number is on my website, or you can message me on Messenger. Now, my goal is to move from Facebook live stream to YouTube live stream, but I need 1,000 subscribers to do that, and I am 40 subscribers away from being able to do that. And so if you would like to see more of my classes and in a format that's much more organized, then go to my YouTube channel and you can see classes of mine from years and years, just a whole smorgasbord of classes. And if you would like to support this ministry, then subscribing and liking and sharing is a wonderful, easy way to support this ministry, that it might extend out more into the world so that more people can hear about the kind of relationships that they could have instead of the ones they've been having. All right.
Don't forget about subscribing on YouTube.
And yes, exactly. And then, when you go to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and like and share if you want to. All right. Beautiful. So I see online Ju and Dante. Lovely to have you in this healing circle. Okay, so that is the announcement. And now we're going to do the integration meditation that I close all my sessions with, where we just take the ideas and use them. This is a curriculum. This is a curriculum for practical application. Course in Miracles is all about practical application, not just the philosophical play of ideas. Course in Miracles is a curriculum whose purpose is that you have peace, and a peace that lasts, a peace that's enduring, a peace that lasts and stays with you no matter what happens around you in your life or in the world. So, I don't know about you, but that's what I want. I want a peace that is stable, a peace that sustains me, a peace that lasts no matter what kinds of twists and turns and tumbles that I experience in my life or in my world. So that's the purpose of this curriculum. Not that you be smarter, not that you have knowledge, not that you have wisdom, but that you have peace, and a peace that lasts no matter what you go through. And you deserve that. All the children of God, all the creations of God deserve that. And this is one way to experience that. All right. Okay, I appreciate you. And so now I want you to just close your eyes and take a breath. And just breathe for a moment. Just breathe and feel. What do these ideas feel like as you listen to them? And as you listen to them in a circle of mighty companions who also are searching for peace as well. How does it feel in your mind, your heart, your emotions? How does it feel in your body? Beautiful. All right. Now, I want you to bring to your awareness a relationship that has that where you have been experiencing something besides an ever-increasing joy, like pain or disappointment or betrayal or hurt or disappointment or guilt or fear. And I want you to bring that relationship to your awareness. And I want you to see that person in your mind's eye. Beautiful. Now, I want you to do a little bit of an inventory of the ways, your old purpose for that relationship, and be honest. What was the old purpose? What was the purpose maybe your ego entered that relationship with? What is it your ego was wanting to get from that relationship? And what was the lack that you were feeling within right before this relationship? What was the feeling? What was it you felt you were lacking right before that relationship came along? And be honest with yourself. This is just you and you right now. Beautiful. Now I want you to just notice that. Notice. And then what lack do you perceive that that person might have been feeling within themselves right before you came along? Beautiful. And now I want you to just take note of how it was that you both played out that scene where you both were trying to get from the other what you believed you lacked. And that once you felt like you had gotten what you had wanted from them and still weren't happy, then you both lost satisfaction in the relationship. And maybe you parted ways, maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't part ways, but you stayed under the same roof, but yet your minds and hearts were worlds apart. And breathe, remembering that you're innocent. You both made the same mistake. We've all made the same mistake. There's no sin, no guilt here. This mistake is no sin. It's just a mistake. It's what we learned. And then just take note of how that went. How did that work out for you? That premise for a relationship. Did that relationship satisfy you? Did you find happiness in that relationship? Did your appreciation and gratitude for that person just increase over time? All right, now let's go ahead and do what it would take to have a new relationship. Let's do what it would take to transform this special relationship based on lack and transform it to a relationship based on wholeness and completion and equality. All right. In this section, what it says is that first, the beginning of the holy relationship begins where each person looks within and sees no lack. They look within and see that they remain exactly as they were created by Source. Perfect, pure, loving, lovable, regardless of what mistakes they've made. And so let's do that. Let's look within and see the truth and state the truth. I remain exactly as love created me. I've remained complete, whole, perfect, loving, lovable, powerful, abundant, brilliant. I have everything the Creator gave to all of Creator's creations. Everything that God gave to all of God's creations, I have equally and delight forever. Tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself, God has given me everything, just like everyone else. God has given me everything. As God created me, I lack for nothing. I am complete and healed and whole as I was created by love. What God has given me, God has given everyone as well. And what God has given others, God has given me as well. The only differences between me and this person are differences of the body, differences of form. I have what they have, and they have what I have, and we both have what God has given us forever. No conditions, No exceptions, no time limit. Because God creates with perfect equality. And breathe. Beautiful. And now, let's go ahead and invite that mystical third, that higher purpose, that spirit and self that we share into our relationship. And we say, Spirit of truth that we share, I invite you, we invite you into the center of our relationship. We ask that your purpose for being in a relationship replace our old purposes for being in a relationship, because we only want your purpose for being in relationship with each other. Our old separate purposes of getting and stealing have not made us happy. And we ask for your purpose of union and truth and sanity to replace our old purpose. Your purpose for being in a relationship is now our purpose for our relationship. Thank you for entering our relationship and transforming it with your purpose. Thank you for transforming our relationship from hell into heaven. Wow. Okay. Wonder what that was. Dang. All right, I guess, like, what do you think it's saying? Like, okay, I gotcha. I'm here. All right. Did you see that? All right. If you saw something, you need to tell me. Okay. I appreciate you all. Good work. Way to transform. Let Spirit transform your relationships. Way to take your place among the healers of the earth. Earth really needs you right now. Earth really needs us in our holy relationships. I appreciate you so much. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time I see you.